what I'm used to seeing than kind of what we saw as a team in the first half. We have higher expectations for ourselves, and credit to Kaysen, he came in and really set a tone there in the second half and made some big plays for us, and we kind of fed off that energy.
Shai, what did you see from Chet tonight on both ends of the floor? It just seemed like there was a level of control of the game on both ends that he, started to get more and more as the game went along.
Yeah, regardless of what the night was looking like, whether they were making shots, whether they were on a run, whether we want to run, Chet was very steady, just around the rim, rebounding, making the right plays, finishing around the rim. It kind of kept us within reach the whole night, and then when it was time, we were able to strike. But nothing surprised. That's who he is. He'll keep getting his feet underneath them, and we'll be a better team because of it.
Chet, for you, how close do you feel to what you were before the injury?
I don't know. That's a hard thing to gauge because I feel like there's things I'm better at that I was able to work on. I feel like there's things I'm not quite as tuned at that I wasn't able to work on while I was out and stuff. And every single game is changing. I'm seeing different things. The teams that we're playing are doing different things. And on top of that, I didn't play the four at all before I got hurt. So, it's hard to compare that. But, I know I have a long ways to go. But, I feel like I'm steadily improving every single day. And that's the focus. So.
Maybe it's a loaded answer, but you mentioned just the things that you were able to work on and things in detail. And just could you detail, what some of those things are?
Yeah, I was able to, really work on my shot while I was out. Because even when I couldn't fly around, jump, and run and everything yet, I was still able to work on my shot, especially my set shot. And I feel like, I've gotten a lot better, gotten a lot quicker, more confident, more eager to shoot. And I just see that growing as I kind of keep learning where my looks are going to come from and keep finding a rhythm.
And Shai, you mentioned the other night, obviously you guys didn't want to lose that game, but you felt that, the lesson from that game might be necessary in an 82-game season. Kind of shrinking that, the lineup that sort of changed that fourth quarter. How necessary is it for the season to see that lineup without maybe a guy like Hartenstein to change the game?
Yeah, there's gonna be takeaways every night that you try to use for later in the season, and that's what getting better is about, figuring out what those are and then attacking them the next game. And it's gonna look different every night. Some nights it's gonna be better than others. Some nights it's gonna be worse. But just staying in the moment and making sure that you hammer those home when you zoom out and the game's over is very important. I think we did so tonight, and we're gonna continue to do so.
Shai, Eric Jackson with Sportico. What led to your decision to represent yourself for on-court matters?
Yeah, I just thought it would be best for my career going forward. Confident in my ability to do so, and that I want to better myself.
Yeah, how much was it about just avoiding agent fees this summer? Just curious your thoughts on that as you go into the offseason.
It wasn't entirely that. I think for myself, I want to be, let's say, a well-rounded human being, not just a basketball player, a businessman, a father, a husband. I want to kind of check all the boxes, and I think it'll be a good experience for me to learn and get better in another area of life that I have an opportunity to get better at.
Inspired by any other athletes, Lamar and other athletes who've kind of gone this route, right?
Not in particular. I'm sure plenty have. Mm-hmm. I didn't do homework to see who has and how it went. I just, like I said, saw it as an opportunity to better myself and kind of learn an area of life that I can get better.
Chet, I imagine when you're rolling to the basket, if they're blitzing and you're in a short roll, you're more used to having all your options spread out. I'm wondering how much you've worked on the lob passes and how used you are having a big down there in the dunker and trying to make that play.
However much I've worked on it, I got to work on it a lot more. I believe it can be a really good play for us, and that's why I'm not hesitant to try and connect on some of those plays. Um, because I'm a big believer in fucking it up until you get it right. As long as your intentions and your focus is in the right spot, eventually you'll end up getting it right. Um, Most of the time. I just feel like on some of those, like I'm really eager to throw it, where I need to play more aggressive as a scorer, and that's going to open up the lob. So it's kind of like a cat and mouse game, and I just got to get better at it, better at throwing it, better at kind of disguising it. But that's going to come with time.
Can you work on it on your like individuals, or is it that just a game flow type of?
I mean, a big part of it's the game, because at the end of the day, there is no true like replication of a game going against another team who's scouting what you're doing and trying to take it away. But you can work on it in the film room, kind of in individuals, kind of pull other players together to try and kind of work on it when we do have off time. But it's a long season, and we have a lot of games, so we don't have as much time as we would want to work on it outside of a game. So we just gotta continue to try and get better at it in game.
Go ahead.
Chet and Shai, I'd like to have your opinion on AJ Mitchell, and also what kind of advice do you give him to improve?
You said the Jimmy trade?
No, AJ Mitchell.
AJ Mitchell.
Oh,
Sorry.
no, you're good. My bad.
Yeah, AJ's a really good player, really smart player, really poised, really skilled. He's gonna continue to get better with reps. Obviously, the injury kind of slows his progress, but he'll be fine. He's a worker. He's smart. As long as he stays confident, trusts his instincts, he'll be good in this league for a long time.
Yeah, he's a great player. That's why he ended up with our team. That's why we ended up signing him. Nobody's questioned that. He's even shown that before he got hurt, and I'm sure he's going to continue to show that when he gets back. Like Shai said, he's a worker. He's going to come back just fine. I know from experiences that, when you work really hard, you're able to come back from those things. So, we all believe in him and look forward to getting him back.
Shai, I'm sure you heard the MVP chants at the end of the game there. I know there's a lot of game left to be played, but Kentucky basketball still hasn't had an MVP in the NBA despite being such a storied franchise. So what exactly do you feel like you've learned in your from your time there to get to this point in your career, and what would it mean to you to potentially be the first Kentucky MVP?
Yeah, I've learned a lot. Learned about the game in so many ways, learned about my game in so many ways, learned about myself as a human being, like literally from 18-year-old kid to now. There's so many things to learn and get better at, and I'm gonna continue to do so. And then said MVP, first Kentucky MVP. Yeah, I mean, regardless, an award like that, so prestigious, so hard to get, be a blessing and an honor. It's something hard to even wrap your head around. For me, it's easy to get caught up in, so I try to just play the game, try to win every night, and wherever that takes me, that takes me.
Chet, obviously, because you missed a chunk of the season, like you run around for the development of, those situations where obviously Shai's getting doubled almost every game. Maybe not to the extent of tonight or the other night, but it's happening.
Yeah.
I guess, what have you seen? What styles have you maybe seen from the guys while you were out in terms of those situations, and what is there left to be improved?
Yeah, I feel like over the last few games we're seeing some more defenses because even when I was out, I was watching the games, and Shai's seen double teams, especially on ball screens, for more than just this year, and we've worked on those scenarios, but I feel like we're seeing even more aggressive defenses, not only mans but zones as well, and it's definitely something that I gotta get better at. Having missed time, I gotta see the game quicker so it slows down, and I can make some of them reads better. Because at the end of the day, if teams double him getting off the ball is putting trust in us to make that right play. because he's making the right play first. So, it comes down to us to execute those scenarios, and we're going to continue to work on those and get them right. Because at the end of the day, teams aren't going to keep doubling him if we're just laying the ball up. So we got to get those scenarios right.
Anybody else? Thank you, guys.
Case of impacted the game in the fourth and helped kind of turn the tone.
Yeah, great intensity, big time, and started with it in the first half. I thought he and Alex, when they went in the game, those guys really competed on the perimeter, and they remained in rhythm at that time because of the start they got off to and the confidence they had. But I thought those guys set a good tone when they went in there in the first half, and then obviously set a great tone in the fourth quarter with the stops.
The game flow, just from your perspective, was there anything that changed drastically, or was it more of a matter of you all just kind of keeping faith and understanding the length of the game, and that if you all kept your heads down at the turn?
Yeah, definitely good 48-minute endurance tonight. I thought our disposition early in the game, didn't match theirs, and they obviously made shots as well. But I think some of that has to do with confidence, and some of that has to do with the force they were playing with. And I thought, at least from our perspective, it was no coincidence that some of their shots didn't go down later when our disposition was a little bit more forceful and we became the aggressor in the game. So I definitely think we got better on defense as the game went on. But it's a good lesson for us because they were really, really hard to slow down once they got going, and they got going early because they were the more ready team at the beginning of the game.
Just to be more specific, what were maybe some of the defensive elements you felt were missing before the fourth quarter came out?
Well, I thought we got a turn before that. I thought end of the first quarter, really, for the end of the first, start of the second, we were pretty good defensively. And then we weren't great to close the first half. And then the whole second half, I thought we had a different disposition, including right out of halftime. We did a really good job, starting on a 6-0 run or whatever. I thought it was just our intensity, our pressure, our physicality versus the force that they tried to play with. If you don't win that battle, then you're going to be behind the ball. And I thought they won that battle early, and as the game went on, we won it more and more.
Talked before the game about how necessary you felt the other night was. I guess how necessary do you feel it is for groups without Shai to go on late game runs like they did in the fourth, and how much of that was intentional on your behalf?
Oh, I couldn't control that they were on a run, but I think we need to be a 48-minute team, and so that group did a great job, and it was defense. We really turned it up on the defensive end of the floor. We gave up 2 offensive rebounds back-to-back possessions, and they pushed it back to 6. And then from then on, we really turned the water off and were able to get out and run. And then I thought our force on offense during that particular period, I thought there was some contact on some of those finishes that we just played through with no excuses. And we've got to have that sort of, again, disposition mindset. I thought that group was really, really tough-minded.
John, go ahead.
The aggressiveness and the sort of the defensive disposition that you're talking about can also, can obviously lead to offensive rebounds for the other team. But I wonder if the mentality extends to the rebounding aspect of those defensive possessions. And I guess how do you sort of extend it, in that fashion and this manner?
Yeah, I thought, they obviously get some offensive rebounds tonight. But generally, we've been pretty good there this year, for a long stretch of time now. Thought that was more of a reality for us last year, where that was an ongoing problem. This year, that hasn't been the case.
Is it just a personnel thing, or do you think it's more of an emphasis with the existing guys?
A little bit of both. I'd be lying if I said Hartenstein didn't have something to do with it, but he doesn't play 48 minutes, and we've had some really good rebounding games. I think as we built that muscle last season and into this season, I think all of our roster has gotten better in the fundamentals of rebounding, and we've placed more emphasis on it as it's been something that we've had to overcome. And so it's a little bit of both. I think that the team that's returning is better with the fundamentals, and then I think adding Hart has helped that as well.
I'm not sure if there's much more you can say
concerning Aaron Wiggins, but he continues to be consistent and play at a high level.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think the offensive aggressiveness, he's playing with a lot of confidence right now on offense, and with the way we get played, you know, you need secondary guys. You need guys that are going to shoot it with confidence, drive it with confidence, be secondary playmakers. And he's really carved a nice niche with that role, and you know, continued it tonight. I thought offensively in the first half, he really stabilized us in a part of the game where we could not get stops. And so, if you're down 25 because you can't score either, that's a lot to overcome. And so he steadied us, but he's had an unbelievable run here for a good period of time.
The double teaming that you saw tonight, that's not new, but do you expect it to continue, like, you know, when you're talking about playoff basketball, do you think it to be something that you're going to have to deal with quite a bit?
Yeah, I think, you know, when you're a good team, and we're a good team, you know, we've proven that to this point in the season, you know, teams are going to go to different solutions on you on both ends of the floor, you know, and so they're going to go to new things on offense that we have to defend and we have to understand. And then they're going to do different things on defense. And one of them is zone. One of them is the double teams at half court, like we saw against Minnesota. And again tonight, blitzing. We're going to see the gauntlet of stuff. The fortunate thing for us is we're seeing it now. And so we're able to flex that muscle. You can only work on it so much in practice. And so, you know, again, tonight, you know, it wasn't really, we've had like 3 straight games. Actually, since All-Star break, we have not seen a base defense. You know, seriously, Utah played 48 minutes of zone. Minnesota played 48 minutes of changing defenses and then the squeezing. And then tonight was pretty much the same. And so that's good for us. You know, it helps us get better and flex our muscle. You know, we haven't been perfect against it, but the only way you get better is to work through it.
Mark, I don't want this question to be you like specific to tonight, but with the double big lineup, like I imagine you're not throwing guys out there specifically based on opposing personnel, but like how relevant is opposing personnel when you throw that lineup out there?
Irrelevant right now, to be honest with you. You know, maybe in the second half of games, you know, I went small against Minnesota on the road the other night down the stretch. I'm trying to do everything I can to help the team win. Rolled with that lineup in the fourth because they had it going, trying to do everything I can to help the team win. But to have, you know, those 2 guys are 2 of our best players. You know, part of my job is to get our best players on the court. And as I've said many times, we're in the early stages of understanding that. Has it been perfect? No. Maybe some of the personnel that we're facing has challenged it, but I think that's good for us. It's good for us in terms of working on it. It's good for us in terms of understanding it. And, you know, if we can sustain the regular season right here and make the playoffs, you know, it would be irresponsible of us to not know everything there is to know about every part of our team. And that's a part of our team that we don't know a lot about and that we have to get better at. And through these 24, 25, 26 games, however many there are left, we need to work on it. We need to understand it. And then by the end of the season, we'll have taken the team as far as we can. We'll know everything that there is to know. We'll have worked on everything there is to work on with the 82 games we have. And that's our mindset, you know, and that's going to be our mindset down the stretch of the season here. Not only with the double big, with everything.
Anybody else?
Yep, thanks.